So we've learned that factors are the numbers we use to find a product. An easier way of thinking about it is that it's two numbers we multiply to find an answer. So for example, if we're trying to find the answer for finding the factors of 12, we're asking ourselves what times what would give us an answer of 12. So I'm going to start by taking my 12 blocks and seeing what my first factor would be. Now I always want to start with 1 so that I keep it nice and organized. So I'm going to see if I can make a row of 12 by 1. So the 1 is the 1 tile wide on this side. And sure enough, a 1 by 12 is going to work. And 1 by the number you're trying to find will always work because 1 times a number is always itself. So my first factor pair is 1 times 12. Now I want to try 2 and see if 2 works. So that means I want to make it 2 tiles wide on this side. So I'm going to take some tiles and move them over to see if I can make it 2 tiles wide. And look, there's no tiles extra. And so what I'm really doing is finding the area of this rectangle. I'm saying it's a 2 by 6. And when I solve for area, I'm doing 2 times 6. And sure enough, that's going to use all 12 blocks. So 2 times 6 is another factor pair for 12. Now I'm going to try 3 to see if 3 works. So I'm going to move some blocks over to see if I can figure this out. And sure enough, across the top, I've got 3, and going down the side, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I used all the blocks to make this array or this rectangle, so the area of this box would be a 3 by 4. So I know that a factor of 12 would be 3 times 4. My next factor I would try is 4, but if you look, I already did that. It would be 4 times 3, so I know I'm done. So I now found all the factor pairs or all the ways to multiply to get an answer of 12. Now let's try doing the same thing for 24. Just like before, you always want to start by setting it up so that you can list everything nice and organized. And I know 1 by 24 is going to work even though I don't have enough room on this screen. So I'm going to start with a 1 by 24 because I know 1 times any number is always going to be that number. Now I'm going to try 2. Since it's an even number, I'm pretty sure 2 is going to work, but I'm still going to try and make sure by drawing my array. So I'm going to take my tiles and move them to make sure I can make a 2 by something array. And sure enough, I was able to use all my tiles with nothing extra, and it's 2 going up and down, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 going across, which shows me that if I do 2 times 12, I would get an answer of 24. Now I want to try 3 to see if that would work. So I'm going to grab some of these to see if I can put them here. 2. So that one side would be 3, and see if 3 would be a factor of 24. So basically I'm checking to say 3 times a number, would that give me 24? And it looks like I can make a perfect array, no extra blocks, and it looks just like a rectangle to say a 3 on this side by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 will work. So I know 3 and 8 are both factors of 24, and I can do 3 times 8. Now the next number I'm going to try is 4. So again, I'm going to move some numbers over. To see if I can perfectly make another rectangle. And it looks like all of my blocks can be used. So sure enough, 4 is a factor of 24. It's 4 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 4 by 6 is a factor of 24. The next thing I'm going to try is 5 to see if that would work. So to do that, I'm going to try 5 tiles across. Now, if you look, I have a hole there, so that doesn't make a perfect rectangle. It doesn't make a perfect array, so that means 5 is not a factor. So the next thing I would try is 6, which I already know works because it's 6 times 4. So I found all my factors for 24. So how does this help us with multiplication? This helps us with multiplication because that means if we can build an array and we can figure out the numbers on each side, we're able to figure out the product or the answer to a multiplication sentence. So even if we're stuck on finding an answer, we can always use tiles to help us with multiplication. Multiples can also help us, and multiples are all the products a number can make. An easier way of thinking about them is skip counting or adding up by a number. So if I'm going to think about the multiples of 2, I'm going to skip count by 2. So 2 plus another 2 is 4, plus another 2 is 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. So each time I added 2 as I went. Here's how it helps with multiplication. Since addition is the same as multiplication, because multiplication is repeated addition, this can help me find facts. So say I want to know what 2 times 4 is. Well, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4. And sure enough, 2 times 4 is 8. What if I want to know 2 times 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2 times 7 is 14. That's because I added 2 7 times to get to that 14. So by adding up, I'm finding my multiplication facts because multiplication is repeated addition. This will work with any number. So if we wanted to use 3, 6, add another 3 is 9, add another 3 is 12, plus 3 is 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, and it keeps going. I can use this to solve facts because I added 3 every time. A repeated addition is multiplication. So say I wanted to know 3 times 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3 times 8 is 24. So even if you're stuck on your facts, you can use multiple towers to help you solve. Let's try the multiples of 7. 7 plus 7 is 14, plus 7 is 21, plus 7 is 28, and you can keep going. The same thing would happen. If I wanted to know what 7 times 4 was, I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 7 times 4 is 28. So I'm able to use the multiple towers that I make to help me solve multiplication facts. So again, how does this help us with multiplication? Well, it helps us is because making multiple towers is adding up by the same number over and over. And multiplication is repeated addition. So by adding the number up over and over, we're practicing our multiplication facts. Remember, if I want to find 7 times 3, I do over 1, 2, 3, and it's 21. So using factors or multiples is more than just learning what a factor and multiple is. It's going to help you solve all of your multiplication products when you get stuck.